You wake each morning to a world that feels solid, the ground beneath your feet, unyielding. The past, a fixed story, etched in stone. Your thoughts, yours alone, autonomous, private, real. But what if everything you perceive is a carefully crafted illusion, a simulation so seamless you've mistaken it for truth? Look into a mirror. What do you see? A face, your face, staring back. It's comforting, isn't it? A perfect reflection of who you are. Or is it? Science tells us that what you perceive is a reconstruction, a guess your brain stitches together from light and shadow. The mirror doesn't show you, it shows what you expect to see. So here's the question that haunts. What if you've never truly seen your real face? What if the you in the glass is just the first layer of a deeper illusion? This isn't just idle musing, it's a doorway, a glimpse into a truth so vast it could unravel everything you've ever believed about reality. Philosophers like Plato warned us, we're chained in a cave, mistaking shadows for the world. Scientists like Descartes dared to ask if an unseen deceiver crafts the stage we call life. And today, quantum physics drops a bombshell. The act of looking changes what's there. Particles shift, reality bends, all because you glanced. Does the world even exist without your gaze? Let's start simple. The earth feels firm, right? Yet beneath your feet, atoms dance. 99.9% empty space masquerading as solidity. Your past, a story your mind edits every time you recall it, blending fact with fiction. Your autonomy, neuroscience chuckles. Most of your choices bubble up from a subconscious you barely know. What you call real might just be a convenient mask, a user-friendly interface hiding a chaos too wild to grasp. Here's a fact to chew on. Ancient mystics spoke of a hidden energy weaving through all things. A thread modern physics now flirts with in labs and equations. And yet, we stumble through life blind to it, tethered to a routine that feels safe, until it doesn't. Have you ever felt it? That quiet ache, a sense that something vital is missing, even when the world looks perfect from the outside? Welcome to the edge of the rabbit hole, my friend. Today, we're diving in, through science, philosophy, and the shaky ground of your own experience, to ask one question: is reality what you think it is? Spoiler, it's not. Let's peel back the curtain together. Now let's take a closer look at the tools you use to navigate the so-called reality. Your eyes, your ears, your mind. They feel like windows to the world, don't they? You trust them to show you what's out there. The sky is blue. A bird sings. The coffee in your hand is warm. Simple, solid truths. But what if I told you those senses aren't revealing the world? They're curating it. Your eyes catch fragments, mere slivers of light in a narrow spectrum. Your ears filter sound, tuning out the hum of the universe to focus on what's useful. And your brain? It's the master editor, filling in gaps, painting over the raw data with assumptions so smooth you never notice the brushstrokes. What you see, hear, feel, it's not the truth. It's a story, a convenient illusion your mind spins to keep you moving forward. Think about that for a second. What if reality isn't what's out there, but what your brain decides you need to see? Neuroscientists call this a user interface, like the icons on your phone screen, clean, simple, functional. You don't see the messy code underneath, the chaotic dance of electrons making it all work. You don't need to. Cognitive scientist Donald Hoffman takes this further. He argues evolution didn't design us to perceive the real world. It shaped us to survive it. Truth, too complex, too overwhelming. Instead, we get a dashboard, a simplified map masquerading as the territory. So when you look at a tree, you're not seeing the tree. You're seeing an icon your mind crafted. What's behind it? Chaos? Energy? Something words can't touch? Ask yourself, how much of your life is spent staring at a screen you mistake for the world? Now let's twist the knife a little deeper. Time. It feels so real, doesn't it? The clock ticks. The day unfolds. The years pile up like bricks in a wall. But lean in closer, and it starts to wobble. An hour drags when you're bored, flies when you're lost in joy. A physicist might nod. Einstein showed us time bends with speed and gravity, but it's more personal than that. Your experience of time is a trick of perception, a subjective smear across the canvas of a now. And memory? Oh, memory's even shakier. Every time you recall that perfect summer day, your brain rewrites it. Details blur, emotions shift, fiction seeps in. It's not a record, it's a script, edited on the fly. What you call the past is just a ghost your mind keeps tweaking. So where does that leave you? Trapped in a present that's already slipping, built on a history that never quite happened the way you think. Let's pull on that thread. If your senses lie, if time and memory bend, what's holding this reality together? Hoffman's theory offers a wild clue. The world we see isn't just filtered, it's hidden. Evolution buried the truth because knowing it wouldn't help you outrun the tiger or find the next meal. Imagine your life as a video game. The graphics are crisp, the rules make sense, but the code running it, invisible. You don't need to see the quantum soup of probabilities or the vibrating strings some physicists whisper about. You get trees, sky, coffee, pixels of meaning on a screen of survival. But here's the kicker. What happens when you start to suspect the game isn't all there is? This is where it gets spiritual. Mystics across centuries, Hindu sages, Buddhist monks, Sufi poets, hinted at this veil. They called it Maya, illusion, a dream woven by the mind. Science is catching up, peeling back layers they once dismissed as metaphor. Your reality feels solid because it has to, but what if it's a mask? What if the ache you feel, that quiet, nagging sense of something missing, is your soul brushing against the edges of that mask, longing for what's beyond? So here's the question dangling in the air. If your senses are filters, your memories are fictions, and your world is a simplified lie, what's real? Are you living in the world, or just a shadow of it? And if this is a shadow, what casts it? Hold that thought. We're just getting started. The deeper we go, the more the edges fray, and the closer we get to something vast, something alive, something waiting. Consider this. Last night, you dreamt. A world unfolded. Vivid. Urgent. Real. You felt joy. Fear. The warmth of a lover's touch. Then you woke. The illusion shattered. But here's the rub. Right now, as you watch this, how can you be certain you're not still dreaming? What if waking life is just a dream so persistent, so meticulously detailed, you've forgotten it's a fabrication? This isn't mere metaphor. Science reveals something unsettling. Your brain doesn't distinguish between waking and dreaming reality. In a 2018 study at the University of Wisconsin, researchers found that during vivid dreams, the same neural networks light up as when you're awake. Your mind lives the dream. The emotions, the logic, the stakes, all feel identical. So what's the difference? Stability, routine, the illusion of continuity. But what if that stability is just a trick of the light? Let's revisit Plato's cave, the philosopher's ancient warning. Imagine prisoners chained since birth, seeing only shadows cast by a fire behind them. To them, the shadows are reality. Now ask yourself, what casts the shadows in your cave? Your senses? Culture? The stories you've been told? Descartes took this further. He imagined an evil demon, a cosmic trickster feeding us false sensory data. Swap demon for evolutionary programming. And suddenly, it's not philosophy, it's cognitive science. Your reality is a puppet show, and you're the marionette and the audience. But here's where it gets stranger. Quantum physics, the study of reality's building blocks, throws a wrench into everything. Take the double-slit experiment. When you fire particles at a screen through two slits, they behave like waves, creating an interference pattern. But the moment you observe which slit they pass through, they collapse into particles. Reality changes based on your gaze. It's as if the universe whispers, "Nothing exists until you look." So when you're not watching, when no one is, does the moon still hang in the sky? Or does it dissolve into a fog of possibilities? You might dismiss this as lab room wizardry, but the implications are cosmic. If observation defines reality, what does that say about your role in the universe? Are you a passive spectator or an active participant, a co-creator of the world around you? The Vedantic sages of India claimed this millennia ago, Tattvam Asi, thou art that. The observer and the observed are one. Science, in its own way, is catching up. Now let's merge these threads. Think of your waking life as a shared dream, a shared hallucination so stable we've all agreed to call it real. Cultures across time have hinted at this. The Buddhist concept of Maya, the Navajo smoke world, the holographic universe theory, all point to reality as a projection. Even neuroscientists like Anil Seth argue that perception is a controlled hallucination. Your brain predicts reality before you experience it, bending sensory data to fit expectations. But why does this matter? Because it cracks open a door. If reality is a construct, what lies beyond the code? Consider the Ganzfeld experiments. When deprived of sensory input, subjects hallucinate. Their brains invent entire worlds to fill the void. Now ask, isn't that what you're doing right now? Your brain, starved of true reality, spins a tale of solid ground and blue skies. What if madness isn't losing touch with reality, but brushing against the edges of a larger one? And what of Descartes' demon? Modern physics offers a twist, the simulation hypothesis. If reality is code, who's the programmer? A higher intelligence? The universe itself? Or, here's the kicker, could you be the dreamer, unconsciously weaving this world into being? Share your thoughts in the comments. The line between science and spirituality blurs. The quantum field vibrates with potential, waiting for observation to crystallize it. Ancient mystics spoke of tapping into this field through meditation, accessing the source code. Are we, in our labs and temples, chasing the same ghost? Let's circle back to dreams. You've had deja vu, haven't you? That eerie sense of repetition. What if it's a glitch, a flicker in the simulation, or a memory from a dream bleeding into waking life? The Aztecs believed dreams were glimpses of parallel worlds. Modern multiverse theory isn't so different. Every choice you make splits reality into infinite branches. So when you dream, are you surfing those branches, peeking into lives you could have lived? You've always believed you are here, a solid, singular self behind your eyes, the pilot of your body, the author of your thoughts. But what if that's the greatest illusion of all? Let's start with a simple experiment. Close your eyes. Picture your childhood home, the color of the front door, the smell of the kitchen. Feels real, right? Now ask, who is picturing it? Where exactly is this you that's doing the remembering? Neuroscience has a bombshell to drop. Your brain isn't a unified command center. It's a jury-rigged network of modules. When parts of it break, you break. Take Phineas Gage, the 19th century railroad worker who survived an iron rod through his skull. His body lived, but his personality died. The gentle foreman became impulsive, crude, a stranger to himself. If you are your brain, why does poking it with a rod rewrite who you are? But here's where it gets stranger. Some patients with brain damage exhibit blind sight. They can't consciously see, yet they dodge obstacles, catch thrown objects. Their eyes work. Their awareness doesn't. It's as if the body knows things the mind doesn't. So who's navigating? If you aren't in control, what's steering the ship? This cracks open a radical idea. What if consciousness isn't inside your brain, but tuned into it, like a radio picking up a signal? Think about it. A radio doesn't create music, it receives waves. Damage the radio, and the signal distorts, but the music still exists somewhere. Could your brain be a receiver, not a generator? Ancient mystics thought so. The Vedas spoke of Atman, the eternal self, separate from the body. Even modern theories like integrated information theory flirt with consciousness as a fundamental force, like gravity, rippling through the universe. Now let's talk about the unseen. You walk through a room, confident you see what's there. But here's a fact. Your eyes detect less than 0.003% of the light spectrum. Ultraviolet, infrared, X-rays, all invisible. Bees see flowers glowing with patterns you'll never witness. Snakes perceive the heat of your body as a neon silhouette. You're living in a silent movie. Missing 99.996% of the show? What else is out there, just beyond your filters? Consider blind sight again. Patients who can't consciously see still react to facial expressions. Smiles trigger their smiles, frowns their fear. Their bodies know, even if their minds don't. This hints at a deeper layer of perception, a primal awareness humming beneath thought. Ever felt someone staring at you? Turned and locked eyes. That's your subconscious, picking up on micro cues your conscious mind can't process. It's not magic, it's biology. But what if it's also a clue? A whisper that you are more than your cramped, visible world. Let's go deeper. Quantum physics suggests that particles communicate instantly across vast distances, a phenomenon called entanglement. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. But what if your consciousness is entangled too? That when a mother senses her child's distress from miles away, or when you experience déjà vu, you're brushing against a web of connections science can't yet map. Indigenous cultures have names for this. The Navajo call it Hojo, the interconnected harmony of life. You might call it coincidence, but what if it's proof that yourself isn't confined to your skull? Here's the kicker. Your brain is a time traveler. It takes half a second to become aware of a sensation, meaning your now is already the past. By the time you say, I am here, the moment's gone. So who's experiencing the present, and where are they? This isn't just philosophy. In 2021, researchers at MIT discovered that split-brain patients, those with severed brain hemispheres, develop two separate consciousnesses. One hand picks a red shirt, the other blue. The self fractures. So are you one or many? A chorus of voices pretending to be a solo act. Let's circle back to the radio metaphor. If consciousness is a signal, where's the broadcast coming from? Some physicists point to the quantum vacuum, a sea of energy underlying space-time. Mystics call it the Akashic field, or source. Even Carl Jung theorized the collective unconscious, a shared well of archetypes and instincts. Could your sense of I be a temporary frequency, a flicker in a cosmic broadcast? Think about dreams again. In them, you're different people. Heroes, villains, strangers. Yet you wake certain of your true self. But what if waking life is just another role? A character you've played so long you've forgotten the actor? So who are you? A brain, a body, a radio wave, or something else? Something that can't be named, only felt. In the quiet between thoughts, the pulse behind your ribs, the part of you that knows. This isn't all there is. Think about your morning. You chose your clothes, your breakfast, your route to work. Feels deliberate, right? But neuroscience has a secret to spill. 95% of your decisions happen subconsciously. Your brain makes them before you're even aware. That aha moment when you pick coffee over tea, it's not a choice. It's a report. A notification from the depths of your mind, sent after the decision was already made. So who's running the show? This isn't just about free will, It's about the very nature of reality. Physicist John Wheeler once said, "The universe does not exist out there, independent of us. We are inescapably involved in bringing about that which appears to be happening." Translation: you're not just observing reality, you're creating it. Let's break that down. You've heard of Schrödinger's cat, the thought experiment, where a cat in a box is both alive and dead until you look. Wheeler took this further. In his delayed choice experiment, particles retroactively decide their past based on how we observe them. It's like the universe saying, "I'll wait for your answer before writing the story." So what does this mean? Imagine reality as a blank canvas. Every glance, every thought, every measurement is a brushstroke. You're not just the artist, you're the paint. Ancient mystics knew this. The Hindu concept of Lila describes existence as a divine play, a game of consciousness. Buddhist texts speak of reality as a collective dream. Even quantum physicists now whisper about a participatory universe, a cosmic dance where observer and observed are partners. Now let's talk about you. That voice in your head, the one planning dinner or replaying an argument, it feels like you, right? But here's the kicker. You're not the narrator. You're the audience. In the 1980s, neuroscientist Benjamin Levitt discovered something shocking. Brain scans show that electrical activity for a decision sparks half a second before you're aware of making it. Your conscious mind is like a journalist reporting on a game that's already been played. You think you're the quarterback, but you're just the commentator. So, who's calling the plays? Your subconscious, a shadowy realm of instincts, memories, and patterns you've inherited from ancestors who outran saber-tooths and survived plagues. Your choices are echoes of their survival code. That craving for sugar? A relic of famine. Your distrust of strangers? A tribal imprint. You're not living your life. You're reenacting a script written by ghosts. But wait, there's a plot twist. Spiritual traditions offer a radical alternative. What if you're not the character, but the screen? The Upanishads say, Tattvam Asi. You are the universe experiencing itself. Quantum physics hints at this too. If particles exist in multiple states until observed, could your consciousness be the projector beam that turns quantum fog into 3D reality? Let's test this. Close your eyes. Imagine an apple. Its color, its sheen, the curve of its stem. Now, did you create that apple? Or did you pluck it from a field of infinite possibilities? The line between imagination and perception blurs. Tibetan monks spend decades mastering this, bending reality through focused intention. Lab experiments show that meditators can influence random number generators with their minds. Coincidence? Or proof that consciousness is the ultimate architect? Here's the ultimate mind bender. Your daily life is a controlled hallucination. When you drive a familiar road, your brain autopilots. When you zone out during a meeting, it fills the gaps with plausible guesses. You're not navigating reality. You're binge-watching a Netflix series your mind produced. But what's outside the screen? Ask sailors who've spent months at sea. They'll tell you about hearing choirs in the wind, seeing cities in the clouds. Ask astronauts who've stared into the void. Many return with a spiritual awe they call the overview effect. When the noise fades, reality thins. The mask slips, and for a moment, you glimpse the canvas behind the painting. So, where does this leave us? Reality is a team effort, a shared hallucination we've polished over millennia. The chair you're sitting on? A cloud of particles held together by collective agreement. The past? A choose-your-own-adventure novel you edit with every memory. But here's your power. You can question the script. You felt it. That strange sensation of familiarity in an unfamiliar moment. A conversation, a street corner, a stranger's laugh. Suddenly it all seems like something you've experienced before. But here's the twist. You haven't. Or have you? In 2008, scientists at the University of Colorado suggested that this could stem from a brief hiccup in how your brain handles memories, a fleeting error, like a record skipping mid-tune. Yet, what if it's more than just a mistake? What if it's a hint of something grander, like echoes from alternate realities or a crack in a simulated world? Ask yourself this: how do you know you're awake right now? Close your eyes. Open them. The world snaps back, solid, predictable, but dreams feel just as real until you wake. Descartes' demon is laughing. Modern science offers a twist. Your brain uses the same neural pathways for waking and dreaming. The only difference? Consensus. You've agreed with billions of others to call this reality, but what if consensus is just a shared delusion, a collective coping mechanism for a truth too wild to face? Now lean into the uncanny. Have you ever stared at your hands and thought, are these mine? Or walked through a crowd, struck by the sudden sense that everyone's an actor, the world a stage set? Psychologists call this derealization, a detachment from reality. But what if it's the opposite? What if it's a reattachment to something deeper? A crack in the Truman Show-esque dome you've mistaken for the sky. Studies show that 50 to 75% of people experience derealization at least once. Office workers zoning out in meetings, survivors of trauma watching their lives from the ceiling, even kids mid-tantrum, all report the same eerie detachment. In 2017, King's College London linked it to hyperactivity in the prefrontal cortex, the brain's reality checker. But here's the kicker. When your brain questions reality too hard, reality buckles. Like a computer freezing when you ask, what is a computer? So is normal just the I agree button you click to keep the simulation running? Let's take this further. Imagine a tree falls in a forest. No one hears it. Did it make a sound? Physics says no. Without an observer, sound waves are just air vibrations. No ears, no sound. Only potential. Now replace the tree with everything. The stars, the oceans, the chair you're sitting on. Do they exist without your gaze? Quantum theory whispers, uncertain. John Wheeler's delayed choice experiment suggests reality retroactively crystallizes based on observation. The universe isn't just watching, it's waiting for your input. This isn't metaphor, it's quantum mechanics with a spiritual twist. Reality isn't a fixed structure, it's a signal, a frequency your brain decodes into 3D experience. You're not a passive observer, you're a DJ mixing raw data into a song called My Life. But here's the rub. Static creeps in. Ever noticed how reality stutters when you're exhausted? Walls breathe. Time stretches. Faces blur. Ancient mystics sought these states through fasting or meditation, the liminal spaces where the veil thins. Modern psychology pathologizes it, but what if these glitches are glimpses of the code? Take the infamous Mandela Effect, collective false memories of Nelson Mandela dying in prison, he didn't, or the Berenstain Bears being spelled Berenstein. Skeptics blame faulty neurons, but theorists whisper darker. Are we editing reality, or is reality editing us? Let's circle back to dreams. You wake certain you've invented a time machine or spoken to the dead. For a heartbeat, that truth lingers, then dissolves. But what if it's not the dream that's fragile? What if it's this? The Aztecs believed waking life was Nepantla, a liminal space between dreams. Buddhist texts call it samsara, a loop we mistake for linear. Even physicists toy with the idea of a block universe where past, present, and future exist simultaneously. Your déjà vu isn't a glitch. It's a peek behind the curtain, a reminder that you've lived this moment infinite times, in infinite variations. So who's running the simulation? You, Mr. All of Us. A cosmic game of telephone where each whisper bends reality. When you derealize, you're not breaking the game, you're seeing the rules. So here we stand, you and I, at the precipice of the known. The ground beneath us, once solid, unshakable, now shimmers like desert heat. The mirror that reflected a fixed self cracks, revealing not a void, but a fractal of possibilities. We've dissected the lies of time, the mirage of memory, the phantom we call I. We've watched science and mysticism, those ancient rivals, dance in the same firelight, whispering the same truth. Reality, it's not what it seems. But what is it then? A dream? A simulation? A collective hallucination? Perhaps. But labels are cages. What if it's something stranger, something alive? A living tapestry woven not from matter, but from attention. Quantum physics shows us the universe waits, breath held, for our gaze to collapse its potential into form. The mystics nod. You are the dreamer and the dream. Your consciousness isn't a passenger here, it's the engine. Yet even this is a half-truth. For if you are the dreamer, who planted the dream? Evolution? A programmer? Or something older? Something that transcends who and what, humming in the quantum foam, singing in the synapses between your thoughts. The ancient Hindus called it Brahman, the infinite that becomes the finite. The Sufis named it Haq, the real that wears masks to spare us its blinding face. Science, in its youth, stammers toward it through equations, dark matter, quantum fields, the holographic principle. But words fail. Always. Consider this. Every boundary you've ever known is a sleight of hand. The skin that separates you from the world is a porous fiction. Atoms from distant stars course through your blood. Entangled particles in your brain whisper to galaxies unseen. Your body is a temporary constellation, a swirl of stardust playing human for a heartbeat. Where does you end and the universe begin? Trick question. There's no line. Only the illusion of one. And time? A story you tell yourself to survive, a scaffold built over an abyss. The past is a rumor, the future, a hallucination. There's only this breath, this flicker of awareness, this eternal now. Yet even now is a lie. Your brain serves you reality on a half-second delay, editing, filtering, spinning a tale of continuity. You're always late to your own life. When you feel déjà vu, don't dismiss it. Interrogate it. When the world feels like a stage, step into the wings. When you hear that age-old riddle, does a tree make sound if no one hears it? Ask instead, does it matter? The tree is. You are. The rest is poetry. We've touched the third rail of existence. The Mandela Effect proves memory is communal fiction. Derealization reveals normal is a toggle switch. The overview effect humbles astronauts into mystics. Quantum entanglement suggests we're all chorus lines in a cosmic ballet. But the greatest revelation? You're part of the mystery you're trying to solve. You're the dreamer and the dream, the painter and the canvas, the question and the answer waiting to be born. So, where do we go from here? I'll leave you with a story. In 1971, Apollo 14 astronaut Edgar Mitchell experienced what he called a samadhi in space, a visceral knowing that the universe is conscious and we are its eyes. Upon returning, he founded the Institute of Noetic Sciences to explore the intersection of science and spirit. His lesson? Wonder is the antidote to certainty. So what remains? If reality is a dance of attention, a tapestry where you are both dreamer and dream, then perhaps the final question isn't what we are, but how we choose to perceive. Are we bound by the echoes of patterns, or can consciousness pierce the veil? The mirror cracks, but instead of shards, it reveals infinite reflections. You are stardust questioning itself, the universe gazing inward. Memory, time, the self, all illusions dissolving into the hum of quantum possibility. So, what do you think? Is your mind a prisoner, of its own projections, or a key to realms beyond perception? Share your thoughts in the comments below this video. And if the ground beneath you still shimmers, stay curious. The veil is thinner than you think.